We've all watched plenty of videos covering obtaining all the coins or avoiding all the coins in Mario games. This adds a loud challenge to the games and makes them far more difficult than usual. But the thing is, both of these situations can exist because we have the freedom to move wherever we want. If we want to avoid a coin, we can walk around it. Or we can defeat an enemy and just dodge the coin that spawns afterwards. But what about in unconventional Mario games? What about Super Mario RPG? Now, RPGs are in an entirely different ballpark because coins are currency and we find ourselves getting rewarded with them pretty often. So, given that, is it possible to beat Super Mario RPG coinless? No. We can answer this immediately because some fights we have no choice but to partake in, which rewards us with coins. But having the challenge die right there wouldn't be any fun. So given that, what is the minimum amount of coins we need to collect to beat the game? And this is where things get interesting. So first and foremost, we have to establish some rules. But before doing so, I have to give a huge shout out to DoomDragon6 for approaching me about this concept. Honestly, everything you're about to experience is due to his hard work and dedication. I'm merely the messenger here. So when the video is over, do me a favor and check out his work. He doesn't have a YouTube channel, but he does have a webcomic called RPG World Fan Revival that takes place inside a PlayStation RPG. There'll be more info at the end of the video, but you can find a link in the description below. Now let's talk about the rules. Basically anything goes. Glitches, exploits, etc. But no hacks or cheats. If coins can be avoided, they must be avoided. Coins cannot be obtained in any way if they are not mandatory, as in you cannot sell items, hit treasure boxes with coins in them, collect coins in the stage, or defeat enemies that yield coins when you have the option to run from them. Draining yourself of coins through actions that remove them, like falling into lava or getting hit by fish in Midas River, are not allowed. We're keeping track of total coin pickups, not reductions. You also may not use coins to buy items or equipment, unless the item allows you to avoid obtaining coins. This is just to make the run a little bit more challenging. DoomDragon is also going to be doing this run as low-level characters to make it more interesting. These are the ground rules for the run, and with that, we're off on a grand adventure. Bowser's Keep at the start of the game doesn't give us a whole lot of trouble. Since Terrapins don't give EXP or coins at the start of the game, we can fight them safely and move on. Bowser and King Link don't reward us with anything either, so we can pass through Bowser's Keep completely without snagging any coins, which takes us onward to Mushroom Way. While we're in Mushroom Way, we could grind on some Goombas. Goombas don't yield any coins when they're defeated, so we can certainly utilize them for EXP. We do have to skip Toad when he's trapped by the Sky Trooper though, since we'd receive coins from that encounter. We also don't want to hit the first two treasure boxes in the level as they yield coins as well. However, we do come across our first unavoidable coins in this run. The Hammer Bros unfortunately give us 20 in total, so we have to shamefully accept them. Onwards to Mushroom Kingdom, it's important to grab as many flower items as possible in this run since we can't buy them, so we'll need to snag the ones in the item shop. We head into the castle, talk to the king, and move on out to meet Mallow. Upon entering Bandit's Way, we're now in a non-safe combat area. Goombas are no longer alone in fights, thus we will get coins for defeating them. We also can't get partial EXP either, so we can't level up here initially. We have to avoid our first coins from a level perspective in this area, but all the item blocks are safe. We can utilize an Invincibility Star exploit in this region if we choose to though. The star lets us defeat enemies upon touching them, gaining EXP. But there's an exploit that if you die afterwards, you go back to your previous save point, but you still retain your EXP. So if we die and go back to do this again, we can double our EXP and level up without gaining any coins. For this area, we'll only do this once though and move on. The run is a lot more interesting when done with characters who only gain EXP when they absolutely need to. Think of it as another dynamic to this challenge. We jump Croco, smash his face in, and get another 10 coins to add to our total for 30. We also get Mallow's Frog Coin, but since it's more so a quest item we give up later, we won't be counting it. It doesn't add to our coin count either. At this point, we must now head back to the Mushroom Kingdom to deal with Mack and his goons. First and foremost, we must avoid all shysters, because you can't flee from fights here. We do want to enter the castle and head to the treasure room though. It's important to do this now during the attack because the treasure room is unguarded. You can get in here later on, but Toad normally won't let you leave unless you take everything in it then. One of these chests has coins. so we want to avoid it and just grab the items. And this is where we initiate skipping the Mack battle. So in Super Mario RPG, it's possible to skip Mack entirely, and this obviously saves time in speedruns. It also saves us from 20 deadly coins. We need to head to the left side of the room and jump under the shyster, and then again to place Mario on their head. It's actually difficult to get the positioning right without starting the scene. We can then jump over the cutscene trigger and talk to the Chancellor. This skips everything and the resolution plays. It's actually pretty funny watching the scene take place while everyone is still in the room. Immediately after this, we take off into Kiro Sewers with 30 coins to our name. In Kiro Sewers, we're once again pretty much running from everything. The only thing we can fight is the boos since they yield no coins, but because they usually spawn with other enemies, we must flee. We can't fight the mimic enemy to get a transform pin because it yields coins, so we must push on. Entering our fight with Belome, we need to be mindful of keeping our HP up so we don't get slaughtered. Upon its defeat though, we get another 40 cursed coins, bringing our total so far up to 70. But now we have a unique challenge in front of us. Midas River awaits us, and coins are littered everywhere. Swimming against the currents to avoid coins is a bit strange, but it's what we have to do. We need to pick the cave that yields only flowers and not any additional coins. When the barrel event starts, we basically just don't jump. The first time you do this event, the fish don't spawn either, so we don't have to worry about them. The toad at the end of Midas River is bummed we didn't get any coins, but we do get a knock-knock shell, which is great because it's a weapon we don't have to buy. Onward to Tadpole Pond, and onward to never using this place since it's all coin driven. We snag a weapon for Mallow, and then head on out to Rose Way. Rose Way is a bit annoying because running into combat here while waiting for the platforms to move will eventually lead to death, since dodging the starfish can be a bit annoying. We don't want to use our healing items. All the treasure boxes here except one contain coins, and of course we can't fight anything. There's also freestanding coins we must avoid. With some careful hopping, we'll run to Bowser and proceed on to Rosetown. Upon entering Rosetown, we immediately want to head to the corner house without progressing any of the plot. If we make it into the house before generating the staircase to it, the blocks will give us flowers, boosting our flower points. If we don't do this, they actually give us coins and kill Mario. Well, they don't kill Mario, but coins are bad in this run, so they might as well just kill him. We can get another flower in a different house too. With this, we introduce Geno and head into the forest with 70 coins still in hand. Within Forest Maze, we can spend a good amount of time farming mushrooms that we'll certainly need for healing. With our low stats, they'll keep us alive as we flee from fights. Amanita enemies, which are the mushrooms, are coinless foes, but they rarely come solo, so using them for EXP isn't extremely viable. The bees of the forest are a big issue because they're fast and can pretty much one-hit KO you, so your dodging game needs to be on max. We do want to take time to grab a hidden Kiro Cola and Red Essence here, as it'll be helpful in the challenges that we'll face later. Entering the actual maze portion, we want to head to the secret treasure stash first, and grab 4 out of the 5 boxes. 3 flowers boosting our FP, a full heal, and the last chest is a frog coin we don't grab. Onward to Boyer, we're in for a decently annoying fight. Since our HP is so low, and since we can't buy any armor, Mario and Mala will only have a sliver of health left after each attack. This is where our mushroom farming comes into play. If Boyer uses Static Evo, your party is going to be in for a world of hurt. Geno Beam will be your main offensive move during this fight, assuming the button isn't blocked. And with some luck, we can defeat Boyer, unfortunately nabbing ourselves some more coins. 50 in fact. So up until this point, we've gotten 120 coins total across the game. And you might be thinking, well, with every boss, you're going to have to get coins from here on out. But soon things will be different, and the dynamic of this run will change completely. With Boyer defeated, we move on to Pipe Vault, after grabbing Finger Shot from Gaz in Rosetown. There are coinless Goombas here that we could grind on, netting us a whopping 1 EXP per fight, but we're just going to pass through. We grab a flower and head to Yoster Island. On Yoster Island, we need to farm Yoshi cookies to basically max out our inventory. Since we can't spend coins on equipment or items for fights, this is how we'll get items we need. Through save manipulation via reloading, we can rig the betting process to always let us win. It's annoying, but it works. With a max set of cookies, we head onto Moleville. Upon entering the mine, we want to use some Yoshi cookies on clusters to get pick-me-ups. We then eventually encounter Krako, who steals all our coins, which is honestly a blessing. But only until we defeat him. Doing this at a low level is pretty hard, and it gets twice as hard once it takes your items from you. Up until that point, you can use your pick-me-ups you got from Yoshi cookies to raise your fallen allies. Upon defeat, we get our items and coins back, in addition to 50 more coins, bringing our total to 170. We then head deeper into the mine, dodge a free frog coin courtesy of a shy guy, and encounter another invincibility star. If we wanted to raise our level a ton, we could do that star exploit here, but we're just going to proceed forward with it normally. This is where we want to stock up on pick-me-ups again, because Punchinello is next. Thankfully, he doesn't give any coins upon defeat, and if we play our cards right, we can beat him without issue. We collect our star and head into the minecart ride. Now, part 1 of this area isn't an issue because there aren't any coins, but the side-scrolling part 2 does have coins, so we need to be careful. Unless you memorize the path ahead of time, it's really difficult to react to avoid coins here due to the lighting situation. It is possible to dodge all the coins in this section, but there are some really difficult coins to dodge in the final side-scrolling section because there are no platforms to help you. You pretty much have to make near frame-perfect jumps and utilize your speed to propel you over clusters of coins that you'd normally collect otherwise. Surprisingly, we can get through here without collecting any coins, although initially it was thought that one was unavoidable. After dodging our coins, we crash into town, and the run now gets pretty interesting. Given our rule set, we're allowed to spend coins only on things that will prevent us from getting coins, and thus, this is where the Lucky Jewel comes into play. Using the Lucky Jewel allows us to gamble our winnings in a fight with a chance to double them. It summons the Where's Yoshi minigame, which if we lose everything. We can use it 10 times before it crumbles to dust, but this gives us the power to avoid potential earnings. But which fights do we use it on, and which fights do we suck it up and accept our coins going forward? That's the challenging part. Either way, this item costs us 100 coins, but our total coin pickup is still set to 170. Next up, we go farm some more Yoshi cookies and pick-me-ups, and head into Booster Pass. In Booster's Pass, we're running from everything. We snag a hidden flower box and rock candy alongside another flower on our travels, boosting our max FP. While we're in Booster's Pass, we want to avoid hitting the switch that destroys all enemies, because it gives us their coins automatically. After clearing the pass, we bust into Booster's Tower and avoid all sniffets in the palace. If you touch a sniffet, you have to reload, because you cannot flee the fight. We do want to grab a master on our way up to Booster, as well as a new weapon for Bowser. In the blue fireball room, we can avoid all coins on the ground, but thankfully blue fireballs don't give us coins, so we can actually battle them for EXP if we desire. One of the most evil items in this run exists in this tower as well, which is the goodie bag. A bag that yields infinite coins in battle. We don't want that, so we should banish it to the Shadow Realm. After an anxiety-inducing curtain game, we find ourselves in a boss battle against Great Guy and Knife Guy, but this is where things become problematic. You see, Lucky Jewel isn't a guaranteed solution for avoiding these spoils of war. When you use Lucky Jewel in battle, it's a coin toss, no pun intended. Immediately upon use, it will decide whether you're going to receive double EXP or coins, but you won't know until the boss is defeated. This means you may find yourself reloading your previous saves to fight the bosses again if it doesn't work out. With luck on our side though, we can eliminate the 25 coins we would have gained from this fight. This drops our Lucky Jewel uses to 9 remaining out of 10. After this fight, we take off in a sprint up Booster Hill, backtrack to Booster's Pass for Kiro Kiro Cola / Flower, and then it's time for Marrymore. Basically, we burst into the church, grab some accessories, and take on the Bunt, the most evil cake to ever live. Thankfully, Bunt doesn't give us any coins, meaning we can save our Lucky Jewel for another fight. We check into the Mushroom Kingdom, then Tadpole Pond, and head on out to Star Hill, which is one of my favorite locations in this game. It's honestly just so magical feeling. Our time spent here is rather short, and we must avoid all the fights we can. We snag our star, and head on to Seaside Town with 170 coins to our name. There isn't much to do in Seaside Town, so we just go and talk to the creepy elder, and then head out to sea in search of our star. We can utilize the invincibility star exploit here if we wanted to, but for the sake of the run, we'll just do it one time again. Bloopers do not give coins in this area, but they rarely spawn alone in fights, so it's a bit annoying to train on them. Before heading into the ship though, we need to restock on at least 15 Yoshi cookies in order to bypass unavoidable fights. If Yoshi cookie is used on an enemy, the enemy is defeated, but no coins are given to us. Once we're in the ship, we can mostly avoid enemies, but we will have to battle against King Calamari. We do need to use the Lucky Jewel in this fight, because if we don't, we're walking away with 100 coins. This brings us down to 8 remaining uses, as we push onward into the sunken ship. Everything else still carries on the same pretty much up until the end of the level. We do want to snag the safety ring in the ship though, as it's an amazing item that will protect us from getting one-hit KO'd. Up next, we do have a bit of a gamble. We have 2 sets of unavoidable fights with bandana reds. The first fight has 4, and the second fight has 5. Because these are scripted encounters, we can't run away. We have to use Yoshi cookies to defeat them all. The problem is that Yoshi cookies are only effective 75% of the time on bandana reds, so it's possible for you to get unlucky and use all your cookies up and not clear the fight. This probably won't happen since we brought 15, but it's definitely possible. When we encounter Johnny, the final boss of the ship, he's accompanied by 4 bandana blues. However, we don't need to use the lucky jewel in this fight because there's a very high chance that a bandana blue will drop a lucky for us when defeated. We want to leave 1 bandana blue alive, so Johnny doesn't challenge us to a 1 vs 1 fight, because we'd certainly lose it. If we keep one of his lackeys alive, we can defeat Johnny. Hopefully, the lucky lands in our favor and attempts to double our coins, because if it doesn't, we'll have to reload. If all goes well, we can proceed onto Seaside Town again to smash Yaridovich's face in. We'll want to use our lucky jewel in this fight since we'll certainly get coins. Something interesting to note is that when Yaridovich clones himself, you can tell which is a clone because the attack cursor will always stay on the original. But beyond that, the original takes far less damage. Just a fun fact Doom Dragon decided to point out. If we luck out, we dodge getting 50 coins from the fight and move on with 170 total coins collected so far. Onwards to Land's End. I always loved the feeling of this level because it truly felt like the edge of the world. It's what I named one of my final chapters in my book too, because it impacted me a ton as a kid. In Land's End, we're pretty much doing the usual, running from everything. But before getting too far in, we need more Yoshi cookies. Rise and grind. Back in Land's End, there is a secret cave in the middle of the level that we do have to avoid simply because we have to pay coins in order to access it. When we get to the desert part of the stage, we have to follow Shoguns into the correct sand pools. Unfortunately, in order to use these sand pools, we have to defeat them. That's why we need these Yoshi cookies, so we can avoid collecting coins from the battle. We can snag an invincibility star later on, but we can't buy the second one because we can't spend coins on it. We dodge the remaining monsters and head into Balom's temple. Inside Balom's temple, we do have to pay to have our fortune read. This needs to be done in order to progress in the game, so it's viable for the run. This brings us down to 20 coins in our inventory, but the counter is still at 170. We want left, right, middle for the fortune because it only gives us a Yoshi cookie, whereas all the other combinations lead to coins. Treasure chests contain coins in the area, so we need to avoid them. And before long, we're facing down Balom once again. This is a fight where we forego using our lucky jewel. This means that upon winning, we'll receive coins. But we are doing this because we need to use the 8 remaining uses on boss fights that yield more coins. With this, we secure 20 more coins, bringing our total acquired count to 190. Onward to Monstro Town. While in Monstro Town, we're going to knock out some side events. We'll find the 3 musty fears to get the ghost medal, make the Thwomp shake us down a key, revisit Balom Temple's treasure hoard with the key we just obtained, and then backtrack to do the Sky Troopa challenge in Land's End to give us the Troopa pin. And with this, we're heading onwards to Bean Valley. Within Bean Valley, bees are going to be the bane of our existence due to their speed and movement patterns. If we can dodge them, we can make it to the boss area pretty smoothly. We take on Mega Smilax and can defeat the boss without use of the lucky jewel since the fight yields 0 coins. Afterwards, we collect our seed, which we'll need for the lazy shells later on, and move on up the beanstalk. Now this next area is a bit tricky because it involves having to jump strangely in order to dodge coins. Coins are between the vines in this area, so we need to jump outward and then turn 90 degrees around the coins in order to dodge them. It's pretty annoying to do, since if you fall, you have to dodge the set of coins again. If you grab any coins at all during any of these jumps, you have to reload your save. Mind you, this run was originally done on the actual Super Nintendo without save states, so yeah, it's pretty brutal. We'll want to explore all the routes here to ensure we grab the rare scarf, and with some careful climbing, we'll arrive in Nimbus Land with no new coins obtained. After our first encounter with Valentina and Dodo, Milo finds out he's a prince and we pop straight into the castle. We dodge Dodo's pecking frenzy, snag some items in the castle, and convert pinwheels to some much needed pick-me-ups via Yoshi cookies. Soon after wandering the halls, we encounter Berto for a pretty interesting fight. Due to still being super weak in this run, we can only deal about 1 to 5 damage per hit against Berto. Given this, we'll need to defend against Berto's Eggberts, and then focus on those once they are added to the battle. When they are defeated, they deal 80 damage to her, and given her 777 HP, we need about 10 to knock her out. Her attacks do massive damage. We use our Lucky Jewel again to dodge her 30 coin reward, and we press on with 190 coins still. 6 uses remain for the jewel. In the upcoming rooms, we want to grab the invincibility star and blow through all the enemies including Dodo. After we fall, it's time for Valentina. For this fight, it makes a lot of sense to have Geno as our character who gets sucked into the one-on-one with Dodo. Due to Geno's special attacks and being able to Geno boost, we can even the playing field stat-wise since we're still a lower level. If we play our cards right, we can defeat him and go back to Valentina. We utilize the Lucky Jewel, knock her out, and dodge 200 coins as the battle comes to a close. 5 uses for the Lucky Jewel remain. After this, we snag the fertilizer, travel back to Rosetown, and obtain our dynamic duo, the Lazy Shells. We throw the weapon on Mario, the armor on Peach, and move the safety ring to Mario, since it has the same effect as the Lazy Shell. With our new gear, we swan dive into the volcano and sprint for the star. We're able to battle some enemies here since they don't give us coins, and there's more than one type that doesn't. Czar Dragon, the mini-boss of the volcano, does give us some trouble due to its high multi-hit attacks. With Peach protected, we can continually revive our party though. Thankfully, he doesn't drop any coins. It's now time to tackle the Axum Rangers, who literally thrash our party. Mario and Geno are dying constantly, but we focus on Pink to disable healing, and then the Black Ranger to eliminate the double attacks, then Green, Yellow, and Red. The Axum Rangers don't yield any coins, so we're good once we smash Blade into the ground and strolling out to Bowser's Keep through our Sky Uber. Home stretch! Bowser's Keep is just like everywhere else. Run, run, and run until you can't anymore. There is an issue that will make you have to reload here though if luck isn't on your side. In this level, there is a 6-room challenge that is randomly generated. 2 puzzle challenges, 2 action challenges, and 2 battle challenges. If we get a battle challenge, we need to reload. The puzzle room with the coin box can be completed because we don't actually receive the coins that come out of the box. It's merely a game to make someone draw the last coin. In the action rooms, we can't fall into the lava because it removes coins from our inventory. So make sure you safely jump without doing so. We need to avoid freestanding coins as well as we navigate the castle. After all the trials, we come face to face with Magic Koopa for a fight in which we don't use our Lucky Jewel. This nets us an additional 10 coins, bringing our total to 200 coins collected so far. Upon defeating Magic Koopa, we must make an oath never to return to this room ever again, as it yields a treasure box full of infinite coins. We proceed onwards to where it all started, and we take on Boomer. Boomer is another character we have to forgo using our Lucky Jewel, because there are bigger fish to fry. We defeat him and add another 9 coins, bringing us to 209 total coins, with 5 Lucky Jewel uses left. Onward to Exor, who looks really tough, but we just poke him in the eye and Destructo Disc him to the next dimension with 9,999 damage. Yeah, we can do that here due to a developer oversight. We split the skies with our prowess and force Exor to swallow us. Once in the factory realm, we have time to realize that Exor doesn't give us any coins, so we can proceed onward. Amiiboids here don't give us any coins at all, so we can finally fight some enemies for EXP if we desire. And this is now where we can encounter Countdown. Now, this fight presents us with a really strange situation. Normally, you receive 100 coins for this fight, but if you only target the clock face first, and then take out the dinglings last, you actually get 0 coins for the fight. This saves us a Lucky Jewel use for later. However, we do run into a machine-made Yaridovich. We have to defeat him in order to move on, and we must use our Lucky Jewel here to dodge the 50 coins reward for winning. 4 uses left. We head straight into battle with Cloaker and Domino, but because they don't give us any coins, we just lazy shell them to death. The pet snakes yield no coins as well, although they hit pretty hard given our total health. Now that we've gained entrance into the actual manufacturing plant, this is where those 4 remaining Lucky Jewel uses come into play. The first fight is against the clerk, who only yields 20 coins. After that, we fight the manager and the director. If we didn't have a Lucky Jewel, the next best thing would be to use Yoshi cookies on the mallets that come with them. But since we have them, we dodge another 40 and 80 coins added to our wallet, Toad shows up as a useless shop that we can't utilize due to the challenge rules, and then we head off to fight the Chief and Gunyoke. With Mario's Lazy Shell and Geno's special abilities, we can wither down Gunyoke's health and then shatter our Lucky Jewel to dodge 100 coins from this fight. We head immediately to Smithy to close out this show, assuming we can beat him. The only way we get any items is from Yoshi Cookie farming, which is a tedious process. In the fight with Smithy, due to us constantly getting thwarted, we let the Shipers run out of FP so they waste their turns. We need to focus all of our damage output just on Smithy himself. Smithy's second phase is a doozy though, and we're looking at around 45 minutes per attempt to beat him. With some luck and some extensive studying of his rhythm, we can beat him, and thus we clear the game with 209 coins to our name. The lowest amount of coins required to beat Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars is 209 coins. Now, to quickly rule something out, some people may argue the route of trying to obtain the Lucky Hammer, which lets us perform lucky actions as well. The problem is, to afford the Lucky Hammer, we would need to initially obtain around 103 coins after Balome's Temple, which we need to use 50 to open the door. These 103 coins would allow us to buy the hammer that would allow us to avoid 19 additional coins from Boomer and Magic Koopa, which means that we're actually obtaining 83 more coins in the long run than if we didn't get the hammer. If we didn't get the Lucky Jewel at all, we'd pick up 175 more coins before even getting to the hammer. This is why the hammer isn't utilized in this run. However, although Doom Dragon cleared those with 209 coins, that doesn't mean there aren't any other strategies out there that could work in reducing this coin count further. For example, Countdown's Fluke, where the battle can give you 0 coins, was just discovered on a whim, and was normally a place where the Lucky Jewel had to be used. If you can think of any other situations or ideas like this, certainly share them in the comments below. And once again, a huge shout out to Doom Dragon 6 for helping out with this video. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and check out his webcomic RPG World Fan Revival. RPG World Fan Revival takes place inside a PlayStation Japanese RPG and pokes fun at all the tropes of RPG gaming while maintaining compelling story and characters. It's written by Doom Dragon 6 and the artwork is by Atari Badge. This video wouldn't even exist without Doom's help, so please go to the description below and check out his comic to show him some support. It was a blast making this video, and I couldn't have done it without him. And with that, thanks for tuning in for this coin dodging spree. If you love all things Mario, why not check out some of these videos? I'm sure you'll enjoy them. Thanks for watching, guys and gals, and until my next video, cheers.